and she's amazing, and I'm just thrilled to introduce to you Tracy Tutor, who is going to introduce our keynote, Dottie Herman. So give it up for Tracy Tutor.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I want to start by saying that this is a badass event. I know it's the first event that we're doing. I know it's not going to be the last, so I just want to thank Jan for putting it together. Your entire team worked endlessly on this. I know you did, and that video you sent me is what got me to do this. So screw my agent. I'm here because I want to be here. So I just want to talk to you guys about my experience and how where I've come from, the mistakes I've made, the journey, the stories, and all of it. And then, of course, I have the privilege of introducing Dottie. But who in the room wants to double their business? Yes? And maybe maintain a little bit of a personal life while we're doing it? Yes? And who also wishes they were serving a little bit of rosé while we're sitting in this room? At the end of the day, you're not alone. We all want those things, myself included. Wanting happiness in all parts of our lives doesn't have to sound so self-serving. I mean, F that, right? While we don't have to do it all, we can be mothers, we can be entrepreneurs, business moguls, and have fun while doing it. Finding the perfect glass of rosé potentially on our way. You all have a life outside of real estate, and balancing the two can be a real struggle. Trust me, I am very aware of it. What I've learned about making it through that struggle is realizing that you don't have to be all. You just have to know which part of yourself to bring into any situation you're in, because when you can actually own the room you're in, you will be unstoppable. And isn't that the reason we're really all here? I haven't always felt unstoppable. I probably have a few days a month where I feel very paused and for caution. All last week, actually. But maybe never more so than when I lost one of the biggest deals of my career at the time. It was about 10 years ago, and there was a $20 million listing. And it was an estate in Bel Air that was for sale. And the person buying it was my sister. The agent helping her buy it was not me. When I learned that she had bought it through someone else, I nearly quit the business. I kept saying to myself, if my own family doesn't see my value, then who the heck will? It took me a few years to recover from that, but it took me even longer to really understand why. Why didn't she give it to me? I was entitled to that sale, wasn't I? I mean, after all, she was my family. I deserved her loyalty. When I got really honest with myself years later, after several therapy sessions at $400 an hour, I could see that I suffered from a severe case of entitlement. At the time that my sister was buying this house, I was completely unavailable. My brother had just passed away. I was a brand new mom to an 8-week-old, and I had a toddler toilet training all over the house. I was suffering from postpartum, literally trying not to have an anxiety attack while breastfeeding. I mean, to say that we were pretty close to a Britney Spears level meltdown would be an understatement. But luckily, there were no electric clippers around, and I maintained my full head of hair, thank God. But that was my life, and it's no wonder I couldn't pull my head out of my ass long enough to be present for her during that sale. But at the time, I couldn't see it. Instead of quitting, I let the lesson and pain of that experience drive me to where I am today. And today is pretty cool. I'm one of the top agents in Los Angeles. I have these 2 brilliant little girls who aren't so little anymore with attitudes as big as mine. And I'm the first woman ever to be on a 10-year running show called $1 Million Listing Los Angeles. And yes, the ratings have gone up since I've been on the show. Thanks, boys. And I get to be in a room talking to 500 badass women like yourself. Oh, and introduce one of the biggest women in the game who I've looked up to my entire career. But before we do that, I want to share things that have helped me along the way and helped me own the rooms that I've had to go in. No matter how big your business is or how big it might become, these are kind of principles that I think have helped me along the way, and I think will help you too. So, number one, ladies, quit hiding. I spent decades hiding from something that I was very ashamed of. I even turned different opportunities in unscripted television earlier in my career because of it. I was so scared of choices that I made when I was in my 20s, and I thought that they might undermine everything I was experiencing as a young professional, a mother, and an adult. So I tried to stay really low profile and quiet, which is, as you might know, difficult for someone like me. But I seriously spent a long time completely scared that if I got too much attention or exposure or too much success, that my history might come back to haunt me. You might be wondering at this point what I'm talking about. No, I didn't kill anyone, and there's no dead bodies in my backyard. But I was an aspiring actress, and in the pursuit of making it in Hollywood, I acted in a movie that required me to do a topless love scene. I was in college at USC at the time, and my theater professor had sat down with me as I wanted some guidance from him on what he thought I should do. And he gave me the advice of what actress in Hollywood hasn't shown their boobs. So I sat across from my very well-respected professor. I was 20 years old, and I decided that I should take his advice. He'd been doing it a lot longer than me. And I did it, and I hated every minute of it. And it's still difficult to stand in front of you guys all and talk about it today. But I won't let it hold me back, not anymore. I spent way too long shying away from my own past, my mistakes. And as I've grown and built my career, I won't ask anymore, will they care? Instead, I say, what do I care? Because I can't. And you can't either if you want to own the room. If I spent every negotiation trying to please everybody involved, or only told my clients what they wanted to hear, I wouldn't have the business that I have today. And if I kept my mouth shut and follow everyone else's lead, I wouldn't be standing in front of you here today. Which is why you have to quit hiding who you are. And that includes what's on your mind, what you've said in the past, and where you hope to be in the future. You need to have all parts of yourself available, all those skeletons, and be willing to bring them out. The first part of owning the room is to actually show up. You can't hide behind the drapery or chill in the corner. You've got to be front and center, fully committed, and it's the first step to know what parts of yourself you're working with and how to access them. Number two, once you bring yourself to the room, you've got to actually know the room you're in. You've always got to figure out who you're with. Most women, I think, should be hired by the FBI for how goddamn good we are at diligence on the men we're about to date. I mean, my girlfriends practically know a guy's social security number before they'll even go to dinner with him. They know where they went to school, who the ex-girlfriends were, where they live, have they been married, divorced, and where they're working now, and most importantly, if they've ever been arrested. We all do it because it's something that we think is worth doing the research for. And you should all be doing it before every single meeting that you walk into. I don't care if it's an interview, a big pitch, a casual meet, or even just coffee. More knowledge is always going to be more power for you. You can't expect to own the room if you don't make a genuine connection. That's where it all starts. If you know as much as humanly possible about the other individual you're meeting with, making a real connection with that person becomes infinitely easier. So when I go into meeting someone new, I dig deep. I find out everything I can so that when I go into the room, I know where his or her headspace might be, and I have that background. So when they feed me little hints during a meeting, I'm already correlating it to something that I may have read about them or found out about them. Maybe their stock tanked, maybe they got a divorce, maybe they're moving up in the world, and I'm going to congratulate them on a promotion. I want them to know that I know who they are, not in like a weird stalker, creepy way, but that I understand what their needs might be before they do, and that's very valuable. If you don't take the time to do that kind of dive on the people you're meeting with, you're not only missing an opportunity to make a connection, but you also risk getting caught off guard. So when you're doing your homework, a few items to consider that might help you in this moment, and you should write it down. And I'm always asking myself these things. One, what's their personality type? Are there particular strengths or weaknesses that you can find out? Their work, obviously. Where's their business? How long have they been doing it? What's happening in their career currently? Number three, what are their passions? What are they actually passionate about? Are they involved in anything outside of work? Are they charitable? Do they like to go hiking? What is it? What's their perspective? I mean, most of you all are on social media. It's very easy to tap into that and figure what they're posting about. And their personal life. Do they have kids? Are they single? Are they married? Are they gay, straight? Whatever it is, you should know all of these things before going to the room, because every nugget of information that you can get about these people will help you. And I wouldn't go into any meeting without that. And last but not least, we've got to look good doing it. If I need to get someone's attention, I always wear red. It's my color, it always has been. Which is why when I walked into the room for my first meeting with the developer of the Royal Atlantis, I chose red. For those of you who don't watch $1 Million Listings, shame on you. I took my first trip to experience an international business opportunity this year when I was considered for the position of U.S. ambassador to the Royal Atlantis residences in Dubai, which is over $1 billion project. But I had to figure out what I was going to wear. And this is one of the biggest meetings I had to date, and I knew that I wanted to present myself in a way that would appeal to the people I was meeting with. You know, I was a fish out of water in Dubai. I'd never been to the UAE, much less Dubai, and I wanted to make sure I was respectful of the culture. I knew that I wanted my shoulders to be covered, my knees to be covered, but I also wanted to feel like myself and not be intimidated by the culture, to completely lose myself entirely. I knew that I would be perceived a certain way, but I also knew I had to wear what made me feel good. So I went with the red dress. At the end of the day, dressing the part matters, especially if you want to achieve the right outcome. There's a reason you don't wear sequins during the day, and there's a reason you don't wear a low-cut top to meet with a newly married couple, because one wrong look from that husband and you were out the door. In reality, you can do whatever the heck you want. It's your business. But when people are going to judge you, whether or not they trust your ability to represent their interests, one of the things they're going to consider is, how do you put yourself together? That's been true for all of human history. And when you're dressed to kill, it also subliminally lets the person in the room know that you fully understand, without even trying, where you're at and that you're the right one for the job. They'll think she knows her audience. She knows how to appeal to that audience. She's got the job. This is going to be different for everybody, but give yourself permission to dress in a way that makes you feel really good. How you dress communicates the level of confidence that you have, which is why it matters when you're going to own a room. It's unspoken, but it's very loud at the same time. Dressing the part won't be the reason that you win, but it'll give you that edge. So know that one thing that you can always put on that makes you feel really good, really confident, and clearly for me, it was the red dress. So that said, you're all unstoppable. That's why you're here. Sometimes we just need a reminder from someone that you admire or trust in your life. Today, I want to remind all of you that you're enough. Embrace your experiences like I have mine, good, bad, and ugly, and own the room, and damn it, look good while doing it. And there won't be any stopping you.